Namassabhayai Sabhapatibhyascha Namo Namaha. I, Dr. Madhavi Godbole, on behalf of Team Vigyan Bharati, on behalf of Team Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam, and on my own behalf, welcome you all in the fourth session of Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam. This is the fourth edition of this series. Vigyan Bharati has organized this series firstly in collaboration with S. Vyasa University in 2004. Then second was hosted in collaboration with Banaras Hindu University in 2007. The third one was organized in collaboration with Deccan College, deemed to be university, in 2018. And today we are gathered over here in this Shastra University for the fourth session. So I welcome the dignitaries on the dais. Vibha has some objective behind this fourth Sammelan, and not only the fourth Sammelan, but behind Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam. As just now we are listening to Professor Bhatkarji, we have the drushti, samagra drushti, holistic vision, and to promote this vision, which will be aligned to the sustainable development goals. That is the vision behind this Sammelan. Ataha vicharanam adana pradanam bhuyat iti manasi krutva ayojitam etat Sammelanam. To welcome the dais, I welcome Dr. A. Rajarajanji, Chief Guest of this Sammelanam, Shri Babaji Raja Bhosle, Guest of Honor, Professor Vasant Shindeji, Vice President Vigyan Bharati, Dr. Shishir Roy, Keynote Speaker of this session, Dr. Venugopalanji, and Dr. Ganti Murthy-ji. Now, here I will take the opportunity to introduce this august dais. So, we'll begin with the chief guest. Professor Dr. A. Rajarajanji is distinguished scientist and currently director of Satish Dhawan Space Center, SHAR, Sriharikota, known as Spaceport of India. He is a member of InSpace Board and Space Council. He is an expert in the area of composites. He has developed a launch complex infrastructures to meet the increased demand of launches from various entities or for ISRO prestigious missions like Human Space Program, Gaganyaan, and small satellite launch vehicles. During his career, spanning nearly 4 decades, he has held several positions of leadership. Yes. So he has held several positions of leadership in Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, VSSC, where he has held senior positions as Deputy Director of 3 major entities. He has been awarded with honorary doctorate by Satyabhama University, Chennai, for his excellent contribution for space applications. In recognition of his meritorious contribution for space research, he has been felicitated by several awards and honors, including ISRO Merit Award and Team Excellence Awards. Yes. Yes. So before we go to the welcoming this August dais, I request all the dignitaries, and before that also, I request to begin the program with Vedic Mangalam.
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः, व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। तच्छञ्जोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये, दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः। ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजम् शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। नमो वाचे याचोदिताय चानुदिता तस्यै वाचे नमो नमो वाचे नमो वाचस्पतये नम ऋषिभ्यो मन्त्रकृद्भ्यो मन्त्रपतिभ्यो मामृषयो मन्त्रकृतो मन्त्रपतयः परा दुर्माहमृषीन् मन्त्रकृतो मन्त्रपतीन् परातां वैश्वदेवीं वाचमुद्यासगं शिवामदस्तां दुष्टां देवेभ्यः शर्म मे द्यौः शर्म पृथिवी शर्म विश्वमिदं जगत् शर्म चन्द्रश्च सूर्यश्च शर्म ब्रह्म प्रजापति। भूतं वदिष्ये भुवनं वदिष्ये तेजो वदिष्ये यशो वदिष्ये तपो वदिष्ये ब्रह्म वदिष्ये सत्यं वदिष्ये तस्मा अहमिदमुपस्तरणमुपस्तृण उपस्तरणं मे प्रजायै पशूनां भूयादुपस्तरणमहं प्रजायै पशूनां भूयासं प्राणापानौ मृत्योर्मापातं प्राणापानौ मामाहासिष्टं मधुमनिष्ये मधुजनिष्ये मधुवक्ष्यामि मधुवदिष्यामि मधुमतीन् देवेभ्यो वाचमुद्यासगं शुश्रूषेण्यां मनुष्येभ्यस्तं वा देवा अवन्तु शोभायै पितरोऽनुमोदन्तु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। पृथिवी शान्ता साग्निना शान्ता सा मे शान्ता शुचगं शमयतु। अन्तरिक्षगं शान्तं तद्वायुना शान्तं तन्मे शान्तगं शुचगं शमयतु। द्यौः शान्ता सादित्येन शान्ता सा मे शान्ता शुचगं शमयतु। पृथिवी शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगं शान्तिर्द्यौः शान्तिर्दिशः शान्तिरवान्तरदिशाः शान्तिरग्निः शान्तिर्वायुः शान्तिरादित्यः शान्तिश्चन्द्रमाः शान्तिर्नक्षत्राणि शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिर्वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्गौः शान्तिरजा शान्तिरश्वः शान्तिः पुरुषः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिर्ब्राह्मणः शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः शान्तिर्मे अस्तु शान्तिः। तयाहं शान्त्या सर्वशान्त्या मह्यं द्विपदे चतुष्पदे च शान्तिं करोमि शान्तिर्मे अस्तु शान्तिः। हरिः ओम्।
Dhanyavadaha. Now I request the August dais to light the lamp and inaugurate the session. While they are lighting the lamp, I request for Laukika Mangala.
दीपो ज्योति परं ज्योति दीपो ज्योतिर्जनार्दना दीपो हरतु मे पापं दीपो ज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं करोति कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदा शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते।
Now I request for chanting the mantra of Vijnana Bharati.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथा मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनं विद्याञ्च अविद्याञ्च यस्तद्वेदो भयं सः अविद्यया मृत्युं तीर्त्वा विद्ययामृतमश्नुते सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Dhanyavadaha. Now I request to sing Shastra University Geeta. I request you all to stand at your own place for this Geet.
मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजेत्रीं आत्मवदेव परान्नपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव परान्नपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परेषु अक्रममाक्रमणं त्यजत परेषु अक्रममाक्रमणं मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजेत्रीं जननी पृथुवी कामदुःखास्ते जननी पृथुवी कामदुःखास्ते जनको देवः सकलदयालो जनको देवः सकलदयालो धाम्य ददत्ता दयत्वं जनता दाम्य ददत्ता दयत्वं जनता श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां
धन्यवादाः. Now, I will take this opportunity to introduce this august dais. As I have introduced Professor A. Ranjanji, I request Professor Yayati Nayak, Governing Member Council of Vigyan Bharati, to welcome him.
Rajendra Singh, brought from Nepal, Kathmandu.
Professor Professor Rajendra Timal Sena from Nepal, he has brought Rudraksha Mala for all the dignitaries, and we are welcoming all our guests with those malas. So I take this opportunity to introduce Raja Babaji Bhosle. Shivaji Raja Bhosle Chhatrapati is the current head of Maharashtra royal family of Tanjore and the titular king of Tanjore. He is the hereditary trustee of Tanjore Palace Devasthanam. He is also a strategic advisor in Industry 4 IIoT and consulting. Babaji has donned the mantle of custodian of art and culture, just like his forefathers, and conservation of ancient temples in Tanjore is his priority. So we welcome you, sir. Now I take this opportunity to introduce Professor Vasant Shinde ji. Dr. Vasant Shinde is a Vice President of Vigyan Bharati. He is a former professor and Vice Chancellor at Deccan College, Postgraduate and Research Institute, deemed to be University, Pune. He is an international acclaimed Indian archaeologist who is famous for his excavations and archaeological studies at Rakhegadi from 2011 to 2016. He is famous for challenging and debunking the Aryan invasion theory by showcasing that the ancient Harappan genome lacks ancestry from steppe pastoralitans or Iranian farmers. He is an adjunct professor at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, IIC Campus, Bangalore, and Director General, National Maritime Heritage Complex, Gandhinagar. I welcome you, sir. Now, I take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Shishir Roy, keynote speaker of this today's session. Professor Shishir Roy is renowned theoretical physicist. Currently, he is a visiting professor at NIAS, Bangalore, and was awarded as the Senior Homi Bhabha Fellow. Professor Roy has an illustrious career as a professor at ISI Kolkata. He did postdoctoral studies at IHES Paris, the renowned Institute for Theoretical Sciences, where he worked under Professor Jain on foundations of quantum theory. His research expertise also extends to theoretical astrophysics and cosmology, brain function modeling as higher order cognitive activities. He made pioneering studies in understanding Kashmiri Saivism from the viewpoint of modern science. This is a remarkable contribution of Indian knowledge systems. Professor Roy has co-authored Understanding Space, Time, and Causality, Modern Physics, and Ancient Indian Traditions. He tried to understand the concept of shunyata from the perspective of quantum mechanics, and currently he is working on quantum aspects of consciousness. I welcome you, sir. Now, I take this opportunity to introduce Professor Venugopalanji. Professor Venugopalanji is an eminent Sanskrit scholar and has studied at Madras Sanskrit College and completed the course Vyakarana Shiromani, which is an equivalent to post-graduation in Sanskrit. He pursued his PhD in Sanskrit grammar at Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Viśva-Mahavidyalaya. Then he worked as a faculty at Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Viśva-Mahavidyalaya before moving to Shastra deemed to be university, where he currently serves as a full-time professor and as the head of the Department of Oriental Studies and Research. He is an expert Sanskrit Vyakarana, Ayurveda, Yoga, Shastra, and Indian knowledge systems. I welcome you, sir, in the gathering. Now, I take this opportunity to introduce Professor Ganti Murthy ji. Actually, he is now well known to all the Indian and abroad community, as he is basically the national coordinator for Indian Knowledge System, Ministry of Education. He is also a professor in the discipline of Bioscience and Biomedical Engineering at IIT Indore. He has completed his PhD from the University of Urbana-Champaign, Illinois, USA. Before coming to IIT Indore, he was a tenured full professor at Biological and Ecological Engineering Department at Oregon State University, USA. He is co-founder of GRW Engineering LLC, a resource recovery company focusing on recovering fertilizers, metals, and organics from landfill leachate. Dr. Murthy's research is broadly focused on sustainable bioprocessing and systems analysis. So I welcome you, sir, in the gathering. Now, I take this opportunity to request Professor Venugopalanji to deliver his welcome address.
सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरां श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। महदिदं प्रमोदस्थानं यदद्य अस्माकं शास्त्र विश्वमहाविद्यालयस्य आतिथ्य परिग्रहे विज्ञान भारती भारतीय सर्वकारीय शिक्षा मंत्रालयस्य भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा विभागः इत्यनयोः संयुक्त तत्वावधाने चतुर्थं विश्ववेद विज्ञान सम्मेलनं चतुर्षु वर्षेषु सकृत् आयोज्यमानम् अद्य आरभ्य 3 दिनेषु अस्माकं शास्त्रा विश्वमहाविद्यालयस्य प्राङ्गणे प्रचलति इति। एतन् महदध्वरनिमित्तं देशस्य विभिन्नेभ्यः प्रान्तेभ्यः देशान्तरादपि समुपस्थितेभ्यः समेभ्यः भागग्राहिभ्यः विद्वद्भ्यः अद्यतन उद्घाटनसमारोहाय आगतेभ्यः मुख्य अतिथिभ्यः च मञ्चे विराजमानेभ्यः विज्ञानभारती स्वयंसेवकेभ्यश्च भारतीयज्ञानपरम्परा विभागीयेभ्यश्च शास्त्रमहाविद्यालयस्य पक्षतः हार्दं स्वागतम् अहं व्याहरामि। Namaskaram, one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to invite you all on behalf of our Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dean, Planning and Development, and all the members of Shastra community to this 4th edition of Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam, being organized by Vijnana Bharati and Indian Knowledge System, a division of AICTE of Ministry of Education, Government of India, and hosted by our Shastra University at Tanjavur. Let me briefly introduce our introduction to all of you who have come over here from various parts of our Bharata Desha and also from our neighboring countries like Nepal, where our Bharatiya Sanatana Vaidika Samskriti flourishes. Our Shastra University came into existence some 40 years ago in the form of a polytechnic college. It was called Sharmuga Polytechnic then. Later it was upgraded to an engineering college, and later in the beginning of this millennia, it evolved as a deemed university. This university offers various very many programs in engineering, technology, arts, science, humanities, and law. In short, we have everything except medical education. This campus is spread over more than 200 acres of land, and it houses 4 dedicated facilities for carrying out research activities on various fields from biotechnology to nanotechnology. In our 3 campuses, this at Tanjavur and other 2 at Kumbakonam and Chennai, we offer quality higher education to almost 15,000 students and hundreds of research opportunities to students, researchers leading to doctoral studies. With more than 10,000 members of various faculties, and we are ranked by NAC with A++, and we stand atop at 22nd rank of all the universities across our Bharata Desha. And we keep striving to improve ourselves in the sphere of higher education in Bharata. We have more than 150 patents to our credit in the fields of science and technology. With all these, we are culturally rooted with our Bharatiya Sanatana Samskriti. We offer three credit programs as open electives to be chosen by our students that include Nama Sankirtanam, Nada Shastram, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Basic Sanskrit, Artha Shastra, Ayurveda, and Basic Astronomy and Astrology. And we have been granted with several projects by various ministries of Government of India, including Indian Knowledge System and many other corporate organizations. We have recently started an integrated MA program in Sanskrit with a special emphasis to catering to the needs of students of Veda Pathashala and Sanskrit Pathashalas. We also offer MA Sanskrit and MA Divya Prabandham programs through online mode. With this, I once again offer my warm welcome to all the dignitaries on and off the dais and other all over the dignitaries present over here. Swagatam, Jai Jai Shankara, Hara Hara Shankara. Namaskar.
धन्यवादाः महोदय। अधुना प्रार्थये घण्टिमूर्तिजी यत् समारोहस्य सम्मेलनस्यास्य किञ्चित् विहङ्गावलोकनं तथा अस्य पुरतः का दृष्टिः वर्तते तस्याः आलोचनं करोतु इति।
मातृभ्यो नमः, पितृभ्यो नमः, Gurubhyo Namaha, Sabhayi Namaha, Sabhapatibhyo Namo Namaha. A warm welcome and good morning to all of you. Namaskar to all of you. It is my distinct pleasure to see such a big gathering of so many qualified and enthusiastic individuals who are at the forefront of integrating the Vedic sciences and the modern sciences for the welfare of all. So I will try to give you a brief overview. Of this Cathurtham Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam, which is being conducted in collaboration with the Vijnana Bharati and Shastra University and the Indian Knowledge Systems. This ayam of the Vijnana Bharati is as was mentioned earlier, is the 4th edition of the Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam, and this is one of the things that is kind of a special one compared to the previous ones. The previous ones, all three of them were primarily aimed at reaching out into the masses and then basically invigorating them and rejuvenating this tradition of what is this Vedic Vijnana in the masses. Whereas this conference had a primarily different objective. The objective is now that there is enough awareness about what is this Vedic Vijnana. So now this 4th Vedic Vijnana Sammelanam, the objective is to mainstream that Vedic Vijnana by connecting the Jivana Darshana, the Jnana and the Vijnana of the Bharati Samskriti with a focus on the Drishti, the Jnana Parampara and the Laukika Prayojana of this Veda Vijnana, and for the welfare of the world. For the welfare of the world. And another objective of this whole conference, Sammelanam, is to build a global forum of networked individuals so that we can bring together people from all over the world who will basically integrate the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, which is essentially at the heart of that is the Veda Vijnana Parampara, Veda Parampara. And to integrate that with the contemporary knowledge systems for the welfare of the world. And then also to establish this kind of the network of individuals so that we can take this forward and basically through the network effect, as we all know. And also to promote the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research in basically the contemporary knowledge systems with the infusion of the Veda Vijnana, and so that we can actually develop holistic and integrative solutions. So if you think about around 125 years ago, Swami Vivekananda ji and Nikola Tesla had a very brilliant conversation, which was at that time so far ahead of its time that they were talking about integrating the Veda Vijnana with the modern contemporary knowledge at that time. And then Nikola Tesla unfortunately could not integrate that mass and energy at that time, which in fact 10 years later Albert Einstein did show the equivalence of energy and mass. But what Swamiji and Nikola Tesla were thinking was even beyond that. To basically Swamiji says that if this basically interdisciplinary thing comes to the fruition, then it is going to be the validation of the Vedic Vijnana in the Laukika world as well. And this kind of a importance and bringing this importance of the Vedic Vijnana for this contemporary world is not just a thing to feel pride about our culture and tradition. It is also a big necessity for this world. Why is that so? Because if you think about any Jnana Parampara, so we keep talking about Veda Vijnana, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. If you think about it, what makes this Jnana Parampara Bharatiya is a unique drishti that is brought by the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. And when you think about that unique drishti, that is essentially what we will require if we want to solve the existential problems of the world. And if we want to do that in the future, because future we don't really know what are the kind of the existential crises that we are going to face. We already know a few of them, but there are many more that are coming which we are not even aware of. So it is imperative that we use the Bharatiya Drishti, inculcate that into our youngsters, educators and scientists so that we can solve some of the existential crises. For example, we are living in a world where we are of shrinking resources with all kinds of environmental problems and things like that. We are living in a world with rising inequalities, economically speaking. We are living in a world where there are many more diseases coming up for which we don't have any cures, and allopathy has hit a dead end. On a theoretical sphere, even physics has hit a dead end. And so if you want to move beyond all of these things and to a society that is basically something that looks for the shreyas of the entire world, not just of the human beings, it is imperative that we integrate the Vedic Vijnana into our contemporary knowledge system. So that is what the objective of this conference is. And as we go forward in the next 3 days, you'll be seeing a lot of panel discussions happen here, which are about some of the cutting edge discussions that we need to have at the forefront of both the modern science and where we can infuse the Vedic wisdom there. And there are many parallel sessions where we are having some 40 of the curated oral presentations. These presentations were selected from we received abstracts of about 250 to 270 abstracts. And there was a two-phase process of very rigorous review by experts who were well-versed in both the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara and the modern sciences, who reviewed these articles. And then based on that, we selected about 150 for posters and then 40 for the oral presentations. And all of these oral presentations will be essentially be something that we will be publishing as a peer-reviewed journal publication very soon from the IKS division. And all the posters with their 1,500 word abstracts will be published as conference proceedings. We are also doing one more unique experiment, perhaps for the first time in this conference. And that is, we are organizing two Shastra Dasadas. One is going to focus on the relevance of the Dharma Shastras for the contemporary world. Second one is going to talk about the first person inquiry and the consciousness and its relevance for in today's world. Why are these important? If you think about the modern academic publishing, the way that it works is we write a paper, send it to a journal, which they send it to reviewers and who will review and get it back. And that entire process takes about 2 to 3 months. Whereas in our Shastra Dasadas, the experts are all sitting there and then the peer review basically happens right there. So what we thought was, but then our traditional scholars don't write academic papers. And then so what happens is somebody comes and listens to these and then writes a paper in English and they are cited as authorities. We wanted to change that and say, how do we make sure that our Shastra scholars, our Vidwans are the authority on this? So for this, what we are trying to do is these two Shastra Dasadas will be recorded completely, which will be transcribed into both Sanskrit and then we will basically circulate among the scholars. Once they approve of it, we'll translate them into English as well. And these three things, the video of the Shastra Dasadas, the Sanskrit transliteration and the English translation will be published with the basically credits going to all the Shastra, the Vidwans who have participated in the Sadas as a peer-reviewed journal article which can be cited by everybody. So what this will enable is, this will enable our traditional scholars to maintain the adhikara, because one of the big things that we need to be worried about is we don't want our Veda Vijnanam to go the yoga way, where some institute in New York is going to certify what is yoga and what is not. So we want that adhikara to stay in Bharata as well. When I say Bharata, I mean Akhanda Bharata. So it has to stay within our Bharatiya Sanatana civilization. So for that, we are doing this unique experiment. And there are wonderful cultural programs that have been set, including Sita Kalyanam Bommalata today. And then tomorrow, Mananiya Shri Murari Bapuji is going to give his pravachanam. And then we will be followed with some traditional Sampradaya bhajans from Maharashtra. And there will be many, many activities. And in the mornings, 6 to 7 p.m., there will be, because this is Margajai, so there will be Vedi bhajans. So we invite you all to participate in this intellectually stimulating, spiritually invigorating, and I hope even this food-wise delicious menu that is served here in Shastra. So I hope you enjoy this environs in this pleasant weather and imbibe the culture of this seat of ancient culture of Tanjavur, again protected very ably by the descendants of Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and represented here by our Raja Bhosleji. Namaste everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving this overview of the conference. Now, I request Professor Vasant Shindeji to deliver his presidential address of Vigyan Bharati.
Respected Dais, the Vice Chancellor of Shastra University, this August gathering, Namaste to all. Now we know that the Namaste tradition is Vedic tradition. And it goes back to the Harappan times. Professor B.B. Lal, I'm sure that many of you have heard his name. He excavated a site called Kalibangan in Rajasthan. And there he found the actual image of a human being in Namaste position. So the West used to laugh at this tradition, but during the COVID, they have realized the scientific, the basis of this, and we are proud of that. Now, on behalf of Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam, first I would like to welcome all of you. Also, I would like to thank the Shastra University for hosting this, very, very important event. And this is the beginning of our long collaboration and association. And we hope that, we will keep this association going for long. Now, the theme of this, the Vedic science, Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam that, we are holding, I think, there is a need, in fact, to properly introspect. Our history was distorted, first by the colonial historians and the rulers, and subsequently by our own people. When the Britishers came here, they gave the impression to the whole world that the Indians are backward and they need to be civilized. They're barbaric. And they wanted to justify the rule, that, they had over this country. But, in 1920s, when the excavations at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were initiated, and a very advanced civilization was discovered, unearthed at these two sites. They did not have such an advanced civilization in Europe, in the entire Europe, or maybe in that region. And then, of course, then they had a great question mark, how to justify the rule. And that is how they started that, they say that it's fine that, we know that, there are remains here. But the people who made this culture, civilization, they came from outside. And that is how, they started fostering this particular idea very, rigorously. And they wanted to justify the rule of, the Britishers here. Now, for last, maybe, after independence also, we never tried to generate evidence, whether, there is sufficient evidence to support that the Aryans or the Vedic people came from outside. And they came, in fact, they settled in, the Sapta Sindhu area. And then, of course, they wrote, those, the Rigveda and, various, Vedic literature. Now, the first person, in fact, to talk about, this Vedic culture, because we never tried to associate this Vedic culture with the archaeological remains. And Professor B.B. Lal was the first to do that. And the whole world was, was against him. They were laughing at him, saying that, how can we, associate this culture or this Vedic culture with the, archaeological remains. And last, since, I have been working on this issue, my team is working on this, and, we have such a institutional, multidisciplinary, teams working on this particular aspect. Since 2006, we have been working on this. And now we know we have generated enough data, scientific data, archaeological data. And archaeological data is considered the most important, most authentic data by which we can now prove that the Vedic culture is very much indigenous. Now we associate this with the Harappan culture. And in the Rigvedic culture particularly, there's a mention of river Saraswati. Frequent, there are maybe more than 70 references in the Vedic text. And we have been able to discover the course of river Saraswati. We know that the river Saraswati was mighty, and it was flowing, in fact, till 2000 BCE. And after maybe 2000 BCE, the river has disappeared. We have the scientific data for this, both in the archaeological, we have hydrological, data, and also recently, ISRO, in fact, has done very good work, in fact, on this. And they have been able to identify the course of river Saraswati. And when we look at this, when we look at the archaeological data in the river Saraswati basin, particularly in the Sapta Sindhu area, the only evidence that we get is the Harappan evidence. There are a huge number of sites in that region. And, Rigvedic text talks about, the flourishing settlements in the Saptasindhu area. And this is the evidence that we are getting. We are getting the evidence of only the Harappan settlements there. There's also mention about the ideal town planning, ideal town or the city. And it is referred that, the city is divided into 3 parts. And the only evidence in this particular respect, I'm talking about the archaeological evidence, comes from the site of Dholavira, which is a Harappan site, a Harappan city. And this is the site, which was divided into 3 parts. Then, there's a mention about the fire worship. The sites located in the Saraswati basin, only they have the, evidence of the fire worship. Kalibanga, Rakhigadi, these are the sites, Banauli, these are the sites, which have produced evidence. So there's a lot of evidence now, which can be correlated with the Vedic culture, with the Vedic people. And, the excavation that, we conducted at the site of Rakhigadi in Haryana. By the way, the site of Rakhigadi is the biggest Harappan city, almost double the size of so-called biggest Harappan city, Mohenjo-daro. It is spread over an area of almost 550 hectares, whereas the site of Mohenjo-daro was spread over an area of 300 hectares. And there, we have the evidence of a continuity for last 8,000 years. There's no break at all. And there is a very, very strong, cultural continuity there. And also the, very strong genetic continuity also, about which I'll be, maybe, mentioning also. So there is no doubt now. We need, of course, more evidence in this, respect. Only that, the only evidence that is lacking, or we don't have a very strong evidence, is the evidence for the horse. But let me tell you that, there is a site called Surkotara, which is close to Dholavira. And that site, has yielded some animal bones. And those animal bones were studied by one very famous archaeozoologist from Hungary, Professor Bocconi. And Professor Bocconi suggested that, these are the bones of the actual horse, the domesticated horse. But later, the same samples were studied by a team from Harvard, headed by Richard Meadow. And they wanted to disprove that. And they said that, no, these are not the bones of the domesticated horse, but these are the bones of the wild ass, donkey. But now, we have at least, half a dozen sites, Harappan sites, which have produced the bones of the horse also. So there is evidence now coming up. Apart from that, there are 2 sites. One is Lothal, where we are developing the world's biggest national maritime heritage complex and the museum. And the other one, of course, is the site of Mohenjo-daro, where the archaeologists have discovered the actual figurines, terracotta figurines of horse. So there's no doubt now that, there was, the horse was present, But, there is, we need to go further. In fact, we need to generate more and more data, so that, once we have data, scientific data, perhaps then only we can convince the whole world that, this is the data. And, we know now that, the Harappans were the pioneers. In fact, these are the actual Vedic people, because whatever descriptions we find in the Rigvedic texts, actually we have the evidence for that in the archaeological records, in fact, in the Harappan levels. Then, these are the people who introduced the Indian knowledge system, Bharatiya knowledge system. And now we know that, when we study the archaeological data, we know that, the beginning of the knowledge system goes back to almost 9,000 years from the beginning of the settled life. And there is a gradual growth. In fact, I have written a book on this, on the origin and development of the Indian knowledge system based on archaeological data. So now we know that there's gradual growth, in fact, in most of the aspects. And that, growth has ultimately culminated into the formation of the Harappan civilization around 2600 BCE. So now we know that, most of the developments that happen in this area, they were done by the local people. And then, of course, we have studied the material culture, the actual evidence from different sites. And all the evidence now, leads us to believe that this was the most important achievement of the human being in this part of the world. And interestingly, the knowledge system that was created by the Harappans, now that has continued. The knowledge was so relevant that time. Even after 5,000 years, we feel that that knowledge is still relevant. And the efforts are being made, in fact, to reach this knowledge to the people who are still following the Indian knowledge system. There are a large number of communities in South Asia, not only in India, which are following the Indian knowledge system, the tradition which is 5,000 years old. In fact, there is one bead maker in Khambat, and he makes the replicas of the Harappan beads by using the same technology as the Harappans did. And he's doing he's doing really roaring business. In fact, he's selling his products all over the world. So that is the relevance of that. If you really want to understand the relevance of the Vedic knowledge system, then you need to go, need to visit the site of Dholavira, and there you will understand how relevant the knowledge system that was, in fact, that was created. And lastly, I would like to mention about, the most important research, the first of its kind research that we did, archaeogenetic research at the site of Rakhigadi. Now, we have studied the Harappan skeletal remains, and we succeeded in extracting the DNA of the Harappan people. Because if you want to know about the people, there are a lot of controversies. Some people say that Harappans came from outside. Some say that they are indigenous people. But no efforts were made, in fact, to scientifically prove or disprove this hypothesis. And now we have that particular data. In spite of the fact that the climatic condition does not really allow the preservation of this particular data, but in spite of that, we were successful, in fact, in generating this particular data from 4,600 years old skeletal remains. And now we know that the roots of the Indians go back to almost 12,000 years. So 12,000 years, the formation of the very distinct genetic, history started, in fact. And then, of course, that has continued in the Harappan people. And from Harappan people, in fact, it has continued till the modern, till modern times. And the scientific data that we have generated clearly indicates that most of us, right from Andaman Nicobar to Ladakh and Kashmir, and from Afghanistan to the whole of Northeast, most of us are the descendants of the Harappans. No matter what religion we follow, but what languages we speak. Then the question that that is being asked, that how come the people from southern part look different and people from the northern part look different? That is nothing to do with the genetic history at all. It has to do with the maybe geography, the climate, the condition, the food habit of the people, and with whom we have more intensive mixing. The southern part, in fact, has more affinity or mixing with the Southeast Asian people, and also a lot of remains of the African people also. Whereas the northern part of the country has more affinity with Iran and Central Asia. Because of that, people look different. So now we know that scientifically we have been able to display and prove that the Vedic people are indigenous people, and their contributions are immense. So we need to really understand this aspect. And if you want to prove the world, or if you want world to believe, then perhaps you should produce a scientific data, scientific evidence, and then only people will believe. So with this, I again welcome all of you, and I wish all the best for this 3 days discourse that will be happening, and hopefully something will emerge from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us for the need of the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara and the coexistence of literal and archaeological evidences and their integration in the modern era. Now, I request our guest of honor, Babaji Rajaji Bhosle, to remark, to present his views to the gathering.
Namaste, Vanakkam, respected dignitaries, professors, scholars, and students. It's an honor and privilege to address this distinguished gathering. My deepest gratitude to the organizers of this remarkable event, Vigyan Bharati, and to Shastra University, a revered institution of learning. The commitment of both organizations to fostering a dialogue between India's rich heritage and the science and technology is truly commendable. See, in fact, I prepared a speech, but I thought I will forego that speech and I will speak from my heart. So whenever I used to face an audience, I used to remember myself. See, for everyone here, they have earned it, this position, this stage, and all this thing. For me, it's a mere inheritance. See, in Tamil, there is one popular song called Dharmam Talai Kakum. But I used to say Dharmam Talai Murai Kakum. It not saves our head, but it saves the generations. Because of the Dharma, what has been done by my forefathers makes us to stand on this August gathering, addressing you, the learned people. See, the another thing, even I should not say that they have done Dharma. There is a phrase in Tamil, Avana Rolal Avantal Vanangi. Even if you want to pray him, we need his blessing. That's how we have been blessed and destined to be see as some contributors to the society. With this humble background, with all humbleness, I address this distinguished audience. When it comes to Shastra, it's not that they just host this conference or host this seminar, but as a person from this soil, I know what great contributions they offer seamlessly. In Tamil, there is one say, even what we do from left hand, the right hand doesn't know. Like that, I know because I'm a beneficiary. The Honorable Chancellor, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, his family, how dedicatedly, passionately they do a lot of things for the religion, the society, the culture, and the people. I'm immensely proud and thankful to them. In this August audience, so there are many learned scholars like Dr. Rajarajanji, Dr. Vasant Sindeji, who gave a deep insight on Harappa, and Dr. Shivakumar Sharmaji, and the keynote speaker, Sri Cecil ji. So when it comes to Gantimurthy, I was fortunate to meet him with Sri Javalji, the founder chairman of Sri Siddhanta Foundation on developing IKS courses. He was so bubbling with positive spirit and guiding us to his maximum limit on how we should address this current day needs. So with this, I'm really want to come back to certain points which I jotted out down to bring it to this August audience. See, Tanjore, a region of unmatched intellect and wisdom, has always stood as a beacon where Dharma governs supreme. As a proud son of the soil, I take immense pride in the contributions of this land has made to the world. The sacred region has been at the forefront of advancements in arts, science, engineering, and technology, or whatsoever. The Brihadeeshwara temple, built by King Rajaraja Chola, stands as a pinnacle of architecture and engineering marvel. Thus, many of you come from many parts of our country and abroad. So hope you will be visiting the great temple and the great Saraswati Ma library. So I thought I should little bit introduce those two institutions to you. It has also nurtured finest traditions of classical music and dance, creating a rich cultural legacy that thrives to this day. Yet what truly sets this Chola Desam, this is called a Chola Desam, apart from its unwavering adherence to Dharma that continue to inspire and guide us. Let me illustrate this ethos with a story. It's the tale of Manunidhi Cholan, a legendary Chola ruler whose commitment to justice epitomizes the essence of Dharma. When a grieving cow seeking justice for her calf killed by the king's chariot rang the bell outside his palace. See, a bell was hung outside the palace. Anyone can just go on, ring it, and can ask for justice. That was the mood, that was the culture, that was the ethos of this great land. So upon discovering that his own son was responsible, Manunidhi Cholan made the ultimate sacrifice, ordering the same fate for his son as the calf had endured, though painful. His profound act of justice underscores that true leadership is not about the privilege, but principles. That's the important thing. So that true leadership is not about privilege, but about the principles. This land stands for that. So in this noble Chola Desam, the Nayakas eventually arrived and established the Saraswati Bhandaram, which was later expanded by the Marathas into the Saraswati Mall Library, a treasure trove and repository of ancient knowledge. Among the many manuscripts in Saraswati Mall Library, either it may be astrology, astronomy, like when it comes to astrology, you can see Panchapaksha Shastram, which deals about the moods and whims and fancies of a person. So when it comes to Nidhi Shastram, it speaks about how we have to uphold the Dharma. So like there are many things. When it comes to Sarafoji II, who is the architect of the present day Saraswati Mall Library, he has clubbed many things, either it may be Ayurveda, Unani, or modern science of those days. So I want to tell one small interesting thing about what happened during his time. He wanted to show his Vaidyas how a human skeleton would look like. So when he was contemplating, he doesn't wanted to exhume a body from the graveyard and to bring it to the Dhanvantri Mall, which was inside the Saraswati Mall Library. So he ordered to make a human skeleton out of wood and ivory in England. So it was made, it was got certified for its correctness in its anatomy, and it was shipped to Calcutta. Then a bullock cart pulled the two skeletons throughout from Calcutta to Tanjavur. That's how this got displayed at Saraswati Mall Library. And all the Vaidyas used to see it, admire it, and to get themselves more acquainted how a human skeleton is used to look at, how it looks like. So this is an interesting story. Unfortunately, there is another story that how this human skeleton traveled from Saraswati Mall Library to Tanjavur Medical College, then went to Madras Medical College. Now it is in Vijayawada in Andhra Medical College in Visakhapatnam. So like this, there are many interesting stories, happenings in Saraswati Mall Library, which I wish that whenever you find time to visit the Brihadeeshwara and Saraswati Mall Library, you can yourself experience the greatness lies over there. So not only this, many I can go on listing out many things, like if it comes to Panchapa, about Shahaji, he has done a kirtana on 5 bhashas. So he had combined 5 languages and made a beautiful prose on Krishna Leela. So like that, there are many things lying in the stores of the library, which we have to explore, and we should see how we can take it out and how we can make it available to the present day society. So apart from this, I have an opportunity to meet many people who come from both national and international. One time I was having a dialogue with an Israeli scholar. I asked him what is the problem with Gaza and all this thing. He just simply said, see, the 60% of the population in Gaza is below 18. They have not seen these schools. Only they have been taught, kill, otherwise you will get killed. So see, such a pathetic situation. So he was mentioning very clearly, we are sitting in a very comfort zone. We are sitting in a divine land. We are sitting in a blessed situation. So how this all happened? Every time our religion, our ethos, our culture, our philosophies was again and again taught by so many scholars, so many Swamijis, Rishis and all these things. That's how we got ourselves confined, ourselves defined, and we are living for others, not for us only. So that's the greatness of this land. And now this IKS, really, I feel it's a great, another crusade where we want to take up this wisdom to the younger generation. So I have one request to Gantimurthy ji, that while taking up this to the college students and the school students, I want it all, we have to explore that this should be taken to the elders as well, fostering intergenerational learning. Because now we have missed the bus, so we have to, so we are no more in schools or college, so we also want to know what it is happening and how we can get out of it. So with this, as we discuss these themes, let us remember that knowledge, like a kingdom, thrives only when shared and nurtured. The wealth of a society is not in its gold or monuments, but in the ideas, wisdom, and compassion of its people. In closing remark, I want to mention the knowledge of the past is not a relic, it's a resource. And when we view together the threads of Vedic wisdom and modern science, we create a tapestry of progress that is both enduring and enriching. Thank you. We may we continue striving for a better world through the unity of knowledge. Pray this tribe grows. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. We are fortunate enough to have this legacy of glorious past of India with us in the form of you. Thank you so much. And now I request the chief guest of today's function, Dr. Rajaranjan ji, to address the gathering.
Namaskar, Namaste, Vanakkam, good morning. Thank you for the response. First of all, I am honored and thankful to Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam, the Indian Knowledge Systems, and the organizers, both Kumbhala Sastri and Shivakumar Sharma Saab, for actually I was interested that I had been in Trivandrum yesterday and was planning to return to Sri Rikota. So on the way, I thought I will just come here because Shastra is always, I like. It's not my first time. Once I came as when the founder was there, came from Trivandrum to do some of the knowledge. Then as a chief guest, thanks to VC Saab, Vaidhi for inviting me for the Space Day, and always happy to be here. As my name suggests, Rajarajan, from this place where my mother put this because of inspiration from Kalki, the author of Marulmari Varman, Rajaraja Cholan. That's how I got my name, because and now we would have known why I am so much put in this kind of knowledge system. Because from very young days, my mother is a very ardent lover of Kalki. He's a very famous author, very philosophical and many this one. And that's what inspires and many peoples. And as many people have put. It inspires not only oneself, but your offsprings, next generations, and that's how you continue that tradition. So I am, first of all, feel very humbled in this august presence. The guest of honor, Sri Babaji Raji Bonsle Saab, Dr. Vasan Shinte, Shokumar Sharma, Siti Roy, Doyens, and those who has put a pioneering service, Professor Venugopal Shankaran, Gandhi Murthy Saab, all the way came down and took this work, which is never, nobody thanks them, but I think we have to give him a good hand to put this place in place. And Professor Madhavi, and all you that you are gathered here. And I'm giving who has come here, so I'll try to do something small. I am from an altogether coming from a different area of space technology where we are supposed to plan our materials, science and technology mission area to look at space in a much more knowledge-based and corroborate all your knowledge that you are doing in this Mother Earth and how we look from this Mother Earth and where. So I used to be, after this, almost 38 years of work in space technology from the day one. Since straight away from college, there is no other go. I worked in space technology. And my father used to be a material science man. So I also started working in composites. And it gives a lot of insight in many of the aspects. And actually, when you go further, dwell much depth in what we are doing as a space science technology, many technology that we have to look at, learn from Western world, no doubt about it. We have progressed very beyond. And our neighboring countries are also going very fast in space technology to look at where we are. The quest of the mankind to know what it is, what is space, how do we go? So first, for that first we have to learn where we are. So I always thought for the Indian knowledge system, I actually put it, we should have this knowledge system for sustainable Viksit Bharat. I am in the system, waking in criminals. There are many academy and university, thankful to Shastra University, which is used to give this kind of insight to put this. How do you can't simply talk and say, yes, today we have to imbibe this knowledge and then start having a Viksit Bharat. There requires to be a very sustained, threadbare understanding of what it is and how do we go about and then where we went. So philosophically, I thought I'll have 15 minutes. Actually, I prepared for 30 minutes, but somehow I'll try to cut short. If I'm overshooting the time, please, because I'm passionate about some of the aspects in the present day, limitation and other aspects, which the generation has to take if we want to become a powerhouse nation or here. To philosophically and ideologically, you want to become a powerful. That's what is the most important. Materialistic world is different. But you want to be ideologically rich and put that thought process by 2047. That is the timeline we have to put and then say, then we have to understand so many things. And how do we go about this? Not only in theory, knowledge, but to put it in practice and to put it in the day-to-day life. That is what we have to aim for. So in that aspect, the philosophically, it always happens. We should know who are we, where from we came, and where are we going to. For all these three questions, there is no answer. It can be only relative. It cannot be a philosophical. It is like what is time and what is the time. There is much metaphorical differences in this kind of aspects. So when you go, as Professor Shinte has put, there's an 8,000 years of legacy and knowledge system buried somewhere and something. So I'm just trying to put how the knowledge system, actually our system had a very unique system to be very sustainable. Today we call very taglines called sustainable development, that you should be economical and sustainable. But these words are always there in our things, either in farming or in the harvesting the water. You know, this place where legacy of the kings of Soya period, where I study a lot because I'm very passionate about that 700, 800 years of a dynasty which never lost a war before it went in something. The naval might, the vision that some people have shown, how do we look at it and how do we culture? The biggest man-made lakes of Veeranarayana Lake. Anybody sees, please kindly go and see. This is made thousands of years back, made by, the lake was created by an army waiting to go for a war. And just to see to that such kind of thought process is there, which after thousands of years is giving around 600, 400 kilometers away to Chennai for water. Can't even dream what it can do for an age, tradition and love. After that, the river Kolidam is an aggressive river, lot of lakes. Always there is a water shortage. That's why this place became the rice bowl once upon a time. Even now it is surviving because of that culture that is put. That's why the musics, everything starts from here. Why? You generate a way of living and do. And if you start practicing it, everything comes into picture. Not only the way of prosperity, living, peace of mind, knowledge, but science also start developing. I will get into this, what it is. So I would like to put it that the Indian knowledge system encompasses such a wide range of disciplines. There are so many things, 64 ragas, that much Carnatic music, how the Kadapaya, the system of Kerala that gets into these systems and how numbering. So Jnana, Vijnana, and Darshan, nothing but knowledge, science and philosophy, right? That's what we put it in place. And how do this? So we had this, and every thought process that in the knowledge system that we have put in place, we have this knowledge, science, and life philosophy. That's how it gets developed. It is discipline where we are taught. It is taught like this only. Finally, it comes to how do you live? How do you live in harmony with all the other cultures? The sustainability and the harmony always comes into picture. Then interconnected learning. You know, we study each subject on its own and try, and we lost the art of interconnecting this. That is where this question comes, and I used to request those who are putting in this place, when you try to develop all this ancient learning and all the slogas that is Vedic, everything put, how do we interconnect? How the righteousness of the living, and this comes into picture, you will get a better picture. That's what my personal experience always shows. And the tribal knowledge always has its own essence. How do things? How do we imbibe that into this? Traditionally, when I look at it from space, because I look at the material science of how to do the investment casting and other aspects, I look at some main aspect is the ecological knowledge. Region to region, there are some knowledge. You should, if you are here, try to eat the food what is being made here. That's all will make your mental health better. If you go to some other place like Maharashtra, Kashmir, anywhere, what is that vegetable or what is that coming out of it? Eat that food with that knowledge, culture. Then only your health and this one will be good. Because our system of food and nutritious system has been evolved and is very, very refined. Very, very refined. Oh, not 100 years, 200 years, it is of thousands of years. It has not come just like that. So people are learn, practice and practice. So always imbibe the local cuisine system, always follow that. Try to eat with what we have, and that will improve your health. This is what I found out when I travel all across India. I think I have traveled almost, I can take pride in that. I have traveled not even once, many states, many districts, many times in the quest of knowledge, both by metallurgy, science. Many people are putting many techniques. And the carpentry is the one which I always interested in, because in my area of fiber reinforced plastic composites, carpentry is one of the most important aspects which I have to learn. How do we do this? The mathematics and science, I don't have to tell. The economics, the cultural values and ethical governance. This is the one which I always was surprised to many places. As our Raja Bonsle has already told, how you try to provide justice and this one, the ethical values, the laws are put, and education for sustainable living. How do we imbibe this kind of knowledge? When we go out of these 3 days of conference, how do we imbibe some of the take to the places where we further dwell and give this? So the most important aspect which I immediately look for is agriculture, the survival of how to do it, the practices that promote harmony without going for a waste management. That is the waste, the soil health is always reproduced. Look at this. The space technology, what we do, the remote sensing, we try to wonder how to do 3 times cultivation and try to give the produce. There are many ways people are doing this. That is called centralized and decentralized system. Has to be in balance. And space technology can provide an answer for this, and we do this and can provide this, how ancient system of agriculture, and then how do you intend the modern techniques? The water management system, watershed, what we call, where and all the water is available, how to do cultivation, what kind of cultivation you have to do, from rice, paddy to millet, whether you can reduce the water so that you can sustain the business of making the farming further on, and vice versa. So this is one of the aspects. And then the forest and biodiversity. We are always proud. I am coming from Sirikare, Kota. It's a jungle island with no habitation that much, only 6,000, 7,000 people, everybody put together, and 45,000 acres of land. When you took over in 1969 and 1971, and today, I can proudly say I am heading that center for the last 6 years. I can say proudly that now the jungle has been densified by 3 times than what it was in 1971, along with the space technology. So thinking that development doesn't mean that it will destroy something and comes in. I can show the pictures of 1970s from various spacecraft or various aircraft, and today's jungle go down. It is possible. It is only the mindset. How do we live? Can we live? Yes, because of this, there will be a lot of reptiles, a lot of snakes, a lot of foxes, everything will be there. But all those things are also animals. We are also an animal, right? Primarily, we are also animal. How do we can say that you are the only right to live here? The whole planet belongs to all. So look at these aspects. It can coexist, and there are some very good knowledge available in how they live there throughout the country. They don't complain about anything. Imagine, I used to philosophically say to my young students, when they join, it's very difficult. It's just like you are thinking about them. Don't you think they also will be thinking about us in some way or other? Why don't you give that kind of small credit to them? If you can give that sort of credit to them and try to understand, your minds will open up for many, many new ideas. That is what I used to tell. They also know the trees, things. If you think it's living and non-living, it's only your perception. But there are many things which it is surviving, right? The stones, everything has shrunk thousands and millions of years. Something is there. You do the carbon dating. So I used to do my first boss, C.R. Satya, is no more. Along with the composite, he was doing carbon dating. And his passion is our Padmanabha temple. So many different types of rocks. Where from this rocks come? How this culture of Gopuram has come? Because Kerala's culture of distinct temples are different. Whereas Padmanabha temple alone is different with its own Gopura. So obviously it has come from Tanjavur. The descendants are there. They do all these stone works. We can see the descendants standing in my neighborhoods when I was living in Trivandrum. Then it gave an insight, the technology, how it came, the steels and blades they had used. So one of the family, they took the blades, carbon dated. It was almost 700 years old. It was surprising. Then each stone gopuras of varying from 200 years different. They cutting, the dating back. So the temple has been created over a period of time. So we have to use this technology to understand, and that's what Shinde was also telling. How do we understand the datings do? What it gives insight is the metallurgy. So I missed that. So when such a thing happens, how do you do the metallurgy, the metal, the Ayurvedic? That's where we started looking at Ayurveda in the Rasa Shastra. It focuses on creating and putting some balance, and they give. People just don't believe Ayurveda or Siddha. It has a lot of metallic content. My dear friends, I used to tell, this is the Bhasma process. The whole transforming the metals into 5 purification, like what we call is it contains mercury, gold, silver, copper, iron, and other elements processed for therapeutic uses. When you do that, what it goes under course is the Shodhana process, that is purification. Then it goes to the Marana, the calcination, and then it goes to the Bhavana, that is the grinding portion. It comes into the nanoparticle. Today we call it nanotechnology in our space sciences and this one. Because at the level of 10 raised to -9, you know what happens? Our body becomes porous. Everything, that food molecule that you're eating is actually getting to that kind of a particle size. Then the elements become porous. There is a great, biggest post office box in our system, which decides which portion of the body, what is the amount of oxygen, atoms of oxygen, atoms of nutrition to be tagged, couriered, and sent. There are a lot of carriers. If you read in the postal department, you want to read how to make it efficient, you please study how the energy is sent to the plot. And this is where the beautification happened. That's what when I studied the fiber, because I work in fiber of micron level and nano level, the 10 raised to minus level, when I put the physics, the classical set of physics doesn't explain. At 10 raised to minus, it becomes a big elliptical theory. Either it becomes insulating, conductive, or semiconductive. And I got surprised where all the scientists, not only me, I am just representing them. 10 raised to minus particle size, the whole thing follows quantum physics. And again, when it comes to 10 raised to minus 10 level, it follows the standard law of physics. So this is something where we have to look at it. And mind, this particle size knowledge is available in ancient India. That's what Ayurveda. They grind and put it to the purest level. And that's what is common as the Bhasma level. So I am just giving the scientific instrument. Those who are interested can see. So the Rasa Shastra has been put, so all your medical, allopathy, medical, everything is in that particle size. Put under the calcium. What your medicine as a tablet you are taking, only very, very 1/100th portion is actually that nanoparticle. The remaining things are just to have it as a transit system. Then the Shusursa surgical wisdom. How many told that rhinoplasty, the plastic surgery, the Kavaji nose, was well documented in 1794 by Gentleman's Magazine. That's how the interest of the plastic surgery started in the Western world. It is already done. Then there is a Vaimanic Shastra, where many people, there are some critics of Vaimanic Shastra, what we have put in our place. Because why the criticism comes when I saw the biggest obstacle that I am coming to the actual portion is the lack of evidence, the scientific validation that we are able to put. This is because of the historical certainty, because of the ancient virgins. Then the mythology and science that we tend to mix. Then there is some inconsistency in the description from different regions. Maybe a possible Western influence on the ideas. And some language issues of the obscure. But what I attribute from a scientist point of view or the engineering point of view, because I'm neither a scientist or an engineer, I do both. Because I have to deliver. There's no other choice. So what I look at is the lack of actionable technical information. This is one of the biggest issues which I have seen in many places, the documentation. We, by tradition, try to pass on the technology only if the discipline is good enough. From Drona to Arjuna, or whatever it is. The guru wants to see that the discipline is good enough to take this knowledge. Whereas the Greek philosophy is different. They just disperse the knowledge and apply the logic. Indian philosophy is always number system, where we look by the time. Morning you have to get up. Everything by time you have to do all these things. Whereas Greek always asks for the logic. There are two different systems. That's why traditionally Indians are very good in mathematics. And law is always a strength of Greeks. You can see the philosophers that have come from that every region. You can segregate this and see for yourself. Rajesh Brahmani is a different lawman. That's a different thing. And then the metalworking and alchemical composites. You have seen long Vedas, all the epics that you have read on the war, the Kavasas and the Kavajas and this one you have put. You know, all those things, metalwork. These are layered composites. That's what I practice and expertise in. My entire 30 years is working in lightweight material structures for the launch vehicle and spacecraft, for your antennas and communication systems for your mobiles and other things. We look at RF. At that point, I used to take Arjuna. When I did my own history of searching, Indians are supposed to be the famous in bows and arrows, right? But do you know where from it came? The origin is from Korea. That's why even today, they have the culture. Olympics, gold means it is Koreans in archery. Indians comes very distinct second. But the knowledge was there. Where from this knowledge came and how did it come? The bows and arrows, they have already, the bows, arrows already has a fin. You know that? It's called a passive stability. When arrows are put, it goes in travel. It will start vibrating, exceeds the velocity because the wind will start giving you disturbance. But it is stable because of the fins. The bird feathers is kept on the bows and the arrows on the dent. That's what we are using in our rocket technology. And the launch vehicle goes into passive system. It's called passive stability. from CG, this one. Who got this knowledge? Where from that knowledge came? How did it come into it? Now I'm coming to this question. Is my important aspect is when you do all this natural composite, where it can withstand a layered composite, that's what we are putting armored by fiber reinforced plastics, then a sleeve of metal, electrical conductivity, isolation. Everything is already done. Do you think somebody can carry a heavy metal on the body and then go for a walk? It should be light. Today we are working on that. Where from we lost that technology? When we do this, also you look at this aspect of laminated composites. That's my one. I was looking at it. Then comes the sustainable architecture. Just for doing this sustainable architecture, I used to tell, recently I went to do the Jaisalmer fort. I just want to see people to see Jaisalmer fort of architecture. Just see the architecture. Don't get into the global merit. Just look at the architecture. You just see, you will get hundreds of ideas of how to have a sustainable architecture and urban planning and construction in this place. I don't want to go into much. Mathematics, science, or innovation. Aryabhatta and Zero, I think is well known. I don't have to see. Then the Vedanga Jyotia. People tell the zodiac system and other things. There are many insights in this. There are people who live, simply sat there, spend their time for 12 to 14 years with their Sishyas to observe the solar system and tell us, which even today is very accurate. Where this knowledge went off. The common man doesn't have this knowledge now. So this is what we have to put in place. And that is what rightly put by our Gandhi Sahab also, that you have to inculcate this into our education system. Like some of the institutions has put a chess in the system, today we have a lot of grandmasters. You start spending and investing into this, you will see generations of people with this knowledge system, which will help in your scientific endeavors. That's what I used to put. So I don't want to get into the other celestial systems because the influence extends beyond time. And I used to now look at the different regions, how they are following in different time frames. In what kind of Jyotia they rely on Jyotia and then follow some systems and different times of month. So region to region differs because it depends upon the positioning of sun with respect to their latitude and this one. And you can impart some lot of knowledge. And how do you get this one? Then Surya Siddhanta, the doctrine of sun, that I don't have to do. The time measurement, we have an accurate measurement of sign. When you see this, I have one important aspect is the Emperor Ashoka's transformation. From Kalinga War to this, he started putting some moral laws. We can look at this knowledge system. How come? Those there are people who are 5,000 years and 8,000 years ago they taught. I am talking from 200 before the birth of Christian era to till today. In between that -2, that before Christ 200 to 700, there are a lot of knowledge developed, which we lost. So this is where I want to say the Gurukula and the practice of learning has to be imbibed and is to be recorded, not simply by oral. It should be put in place and well documented. If it is so, the biggest question for me is always this, for which I am trying to learn. If all this knowledge is available, then why and how we did lose it? Right? We lost it. No doubt about it. Today, there are many in the accurate documentation, the modernizing the IKS for sustainability is for my way of, I used to give in many places, is the accurate documentation is very important. This limited written record is not a good one. We have to imbibe with the technology and straight. That's why today in the morning when we are discussing with the libraries, we have to invest in library. There's no doubt about it because there are so many books and so many publications available which people would not have seen. Has to be put into the public. At least 10% of the public, if he sees that, it brings an immense value into the society. There's no doubt about it. It actually will start pushing the society much forward. This is where we have to put in. Then the scientific validation tradition. We have to invest in time in scientific validation of all those findings of traditional wisdoms. Then integrating this Indian knowledge system into the modern policy framework. How do we do that? It has to be done if you want to retain your cultural significance into this. So this is my path to Vikasit Bharat. By merging these traditional wisdoms and modern science, and we can lead the way. Some of the thing is to revitalize this principle for a future development and the Indians' cultural heritage. Here, I want just to give only 1 minute, 2 more minutes. The Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna, that is the metallurgical marvel of India. If anybody is there, please go to the Saraswati Mahal and statue. There is a big statue. We would have already talked about the Chola bronze casting tradition, right? You would have heard some of the intrinsic, like Lord Muruga the Panchajala, and then the Mohenjo-daros, what is called, we call it the dancing girl, the bronze and the brass statue and the Panchaloga statue that is made in almost 2300 BC, which is available. How that knowledge came from there to here, this region, and how it would have done. Investment casting, we paid crores and crores money to get this, to do it for our cryogenic technology, which we are doing it for our launch vehicles, which puts the payload into the orbit, if you want to enhance your payload, to put it in space. Why we are doing this is where this knowledge went off, and even today, there are some people who are doing this investment casting, single casting. This is where I want, that knowledge which was available, the entire Chola period has this system, flourishing like a cottage industry. Every household has this, making this. Suddenly we lost it. And where does it come? Today, even that 2-meter tall Nadaraja statue at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Please, I have visited, I was just marveling at that. Who has made and how it went there? Single investment casting. To do this today, it requires so much. I don't want to tell anything. Those who are, I'm working in this area, I'm just marvel at this position. Then the stress management, the remaining things, I leave it to this one. Then I request that when I asked some new coding system in one of the triple IIT, I gave a talk on Kadapayadi system of Kerala, where the entire Mahabharata, the original name is Jaya. That if you put that numbering system, it is 18. 81, it will come and become 18. The period of pi in the sloga is given up to the 21st decimal, it came to accuracy. And the sun, nuclear, the Panchangam, everything, they have been coded into the slogas. And if you use the Kadapayadi system, you will get a wonderful meanings, the scientific values that has been implied into the system. That is what you have to bring it out and give it to the common knowledge so that they will get interested. What other hidden treasures are available in this place? And that's what will help you. Because as I go towards facing the man or the human being into the space, understand, our wisdom is what we can see. The sphere of knowledge is only what we see and what we interpret. As the days goes by, there are going to be days, and just giving, you need not believe, but your generations will believe. Within the next 100 years, today only 21 human beings are in the space. Another 50 years, there is going to be 1 lakh people is going to be in space. People are going to have petrol, like petrol bunks, fueling station in the midway space before going to Mars, moon, habitation. Already work is on, because human being, the civilization is a greedy civilization. Human beings, per se. We are the one which started doing the sustainable one very long back in 2000 years itself. So we can show to the world, how do you do a sustainable living in this society, and go forward with the technology, because space is one of the best places to have some of the therapeutic medical treatment, because we are now reaching whether we can live beyond 100 years, further with some of the very breakthrough technology in the medicine and this one, which can be possible to have the chemical reaction only in space under zero-G gravity, and data transfer in terabytes. It's all possible only in space, because we can make the near perfect shapes. There is nothing called near perfect shape, because gravity, Earth gravity will pull you. So we are planning our sister planets, both Venus and Mars, so that around 100 years from now, your Kotra will not only be Shiva Kotra, other Kotra, Narayana and other things. Earthling Kotra, it can be Chandra Kotra, or it can be Mars, Chandrayan, Venus Kotra. And I look forward to the generations today standing, all the students who are here, take forward our Indian tradition to make India as a powerful nation, lead the way and spread across, not only at Mother Earth, but across this planetary system for our human beings to live for other millions of years away. I wish that happens, and wishing you all the best for the next 3 days. Collaborate, debate passionately, bring out and go aggressively and see that your system values, you value your system in which you are believing in, so that we can have a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us on the takeaways of this conference, along with multiple examples from the field. Now, I take this opportunity to introduce two more dignitaries present in the hall. Professor Vaidya Subramaniam, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Shastra University, who is the key steering person for this conference. He is instrumental in facilitating everything for this magnifying event and grand event. And also, we have Dr. Shivkumar Sharma ji, National Organizing Secretary of Vigyan Bharati. He is the guiding person for this event. So I request all the audience for a big round of applause for this two guiding souls behind this event. Thank you so much. Now, I invite Professor Shishi Roy ji to deliver his keynote address.
Namaskar. Good morning, everybody. And many thanks to Vigyan Bharati and also Shastra University for inviting me to give a talk here. And the whole problem to the hardcore scientists like us is not like finding that something was there in our past. Well, this is for history of science. But what we are thinking very seriously, whether we can get some insights or why the ancient Indian wisdom is relevant in modern science. So in that sense, we found an area of scientific research. Mainly it is going on in Western science, Western Europe, European and American and all over the world. And some works are also being done in India. But I am going to tell you how our Indian knowledge systems or traditional wisdom is very much relevant in understanding the foundational issues. So the title of my talk, The Contemplative Practices, Traditional Wisdom and Challenges to Modern Science. And you know that there are three things here, like contemplative practices, traditional wisdom, and what are the challenges. So plan of my talk is like, I will speak something little bit about contemplative practices, what they mean by that. And then I will focus mainly on understanding the meditation or say samadhi. It's not a particular state, but what we understand is a process. So how we try to understand. You might ask that why you scientists are doing on what kind of things you are doing in case of meditation research all over the world. So these experiences you might call subjective experience, first person's experience. But scientists are interested that during this meditation process, what is happening in our brain. Our brain consists of billions of nerve cells called neurons. So they are trying to find out the neuronal correlates of what is happening during the meditation process. It may happen that we may turn into a dead block because the ultimate reality, what we call in Advaita Vedanta, pure consciousness, or in Kashmiri Saivism, pure consciousness and energy, may not be reachable through our present scientific understanding. Why I say present? Because the so-called modern science is hardly 400 years old. So the whole paradigm of science is not exhausted. You cannot say, no, science cannot explain it. But we say, okay, this is young. We should try to understand and exhaust our paradigm. Many people don't understand that. They claim, okay, you scientists, you won't be able to do it. But we say that, no, we have not exhausted our paradigm. Let us try to do something. So I will say that why in modern contemporary research, in meditation and other contemplative practices like japa, chanting, or say meditation practice, why our knowledge, Indian knowledge, is so much relevant. It is not yet publicized yet in the Western world. We have started writing something and publishing something. But this is very, very important. And here we need collaboration of the Sastragya, the traditional scholars, and scientists. So, because my time of the talk is very little, so in comparison to the subject which I am speaking, I would say first thing, what are the researches going on in meditation all over the world? And then I'll go to stages of meditation. Here lies the knowledge we require from traditional wisdom. Like we have identified 3 texts, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, then Bhavanakrama Kamalashila, the Buddhist text, and Tattva Sutra of Jain philosophy. We have temporarily chosen these 3 texts because our knowledge stops here, but maybe some of you can say, well, there are some other authentic texts, but of course, even my personal knowledge is Sanskrit not so much that I can decipher it from the original text. So we need kind of secondary text like English translations or some people who can translate it. So there lies the collaboration. And finally, I would say, what are the challenges? Contemplative practices like japa, chanting, and energy healing, all these kind of things. But I will mainly focus on the meditations. And if you look, the scientific progress, there is a database, kind of statistics. It was in 1990, the scientific articles on meditation research was 500. Then, in 2016, it was 4,000. So it's rapidly increasing. And meditation articles published in peer-reviewed journals all over the world, in 1990 per year it was 25. Now it is 400. And now 2024, it is much more. But I didn't find any latest statistics on that. And what people do in laboratory, they take some instruments like EEG, MEG, fMRI, and they place the subject, who is going for meditations. They put them under the scanner and see what is happening in the brain. And here lies the problem. So what are the problem? The international protocol is that you divide 2 groups of people. One who is untrained meditator, and there is another group of people, they call it trained meditator or deep meditator. Now the question comes, what do you mean by deep meditator? So international protocol up till now is that who has completed 10,000 hours of meditation in his or her lifetime, he or she should be considered the deep meditator. But in our country, we have many people, like starting from Adi Shankaracharya or other people, they did not, we don't think they did not do 10,000 hours of meditation and got enlightened. So this is not the right protocol. We are challenging this international protocol. So what are the solutions? And you see that there are a lot of researches going on. These are some of the references in different type of meditation, focused meditations and open meditations, like almost all the sect, mostly in Buddhist. And the Westerners, they hired the Buddhist monks to the West, and they put them on the scanner. They took the data, published the articles. And for other type, there are a lot of other meditation. Now slowly people are doing this kind of things, but it is not really in that spacing of Buddhist meditators. So, let me see. Now, what are the issues and limitations in the current meditation research? I mentioned one issue is that what is the definition of the deep meditator? And I told you international protocol, 10,000 hours of meditation. Another is baseline. Suppose you place somebody, even if you call an untrained meditator who has not practiced formally, but what is the baseline? I mean, he might be already advanced stage. So to finding the baseline, there is one protocol is needed, and no such protocol is yet people did found it. So these are the challenges. There are other challenges, but these are the main challenges. And before I go to the solution of the challenges, I'll start with a sloka from Patanjali in Yoga-sutra, the Chitta-vritti Nirodho. So, cessation of perturbation of the mind, we can say in English translation. Suppose you are trying to focus, or you're trying to jump on Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, then suddenly, oh, I have to go to the post office today. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So this is called unwanted variation. So in scientific terminology, we say noise. So what is the definition of noise here? Noise in its very general sense called unwanted variations. So in all the times, if you try to meditate even on a particular deity, particular object, lot of unwanted thoughts come. So these we call noise. So in a sense, the whole process of meditation is a kind of noise reduction. And here lies the problem. Problem is that, brain is a very, very, very complex system. And it produces a lot of noise on its own, like synaptic noise, like ion channel noise. There are millions or billions of ion channels in the neurons. So what they do, they are responsible for propagation of information from one place to another. And these are at the nanoscale tube. And what its function is, some ions like potassium, sodium, calcium, they enter into this ion channel like a nanotube, comes out of the other end, and this opening and closing of the ion channel is a random process, Markovian process in scientific terminology. So that produces a noise, and now scientists are thinking that this noise, even it comes to the cognitive level. So, if you look at the simple difference of meditation, say, in a very crude way, like Savikalpa Samadhi or Nirvikalpa Samadhi or Sampragata or Sampragata Samadhi. So, in Savikalpa Samadhi, as we understand, this is within cognitive domain. And Nirvikalpa, I don't know, because whether it is in cognitive domain or it is beyond cognitive domain. So later, and again, in Savikalpa Samadhi, there are some sub-states, Savichara or Savitarka, and other states are there. So in all these cases, this cognitive functioning is very much active. So in a sense, we are trying to find an architectural design of the whole cognitive function from the spiritual aspect. And this is very, very tough job. It's not so easy. How to do it? So I told you that, what we call noise or unwanted variation, noise in science and technology, it is very much used. And there are different type of noise, like white noise. This is white noise, and this is pink noise, this is red noise. And now, I told you in Patanjali, he starts with Chitta-vritti Nirodho. There, I think implicitly the noise, concept of noise was there. Now, let me go to different stages of samadhi. What happens in the brain? There are brain waves like alpha wave, beta wave, gamma wave, delta waves. So what happens during meditation, depending on the particular practice, say vipassana, sahaja yoga, or some other meditation, the brain waves become synchronized. Like in some cases, depending on the meditation practice, it becomes, say, synchronization, more synchronized alpha waves, or more synchronized gamma waves. Say in Vipassana, it is found that the gamma waves in the prefrontal lobe becomes more synchronized, or in scientific terminology, you say more coherent. But we don't measure really coherence. What we measure degree of coherence. So this is a scientific term from physics, optics. And the value of it lies between 0 and 1. So if somebody is placed under scanner like EEG or MEG machine or fMRI machine, and if we find that his degree of coherence is very much near 1, we say his meditation is deep, because more and more waves are being coherent. But the problem to us, and here lies, we need the collaboration with Shastragya. There are different stages of samadhi, sampragyata, asampragyata, or nirvikalpa, savikalpa, and substates, but they are discrete states. They are not continuous states. But you look, the one parameter in meditation research is degree of coherence, and that is continuous. It starts from 0 to 1. So, using or estimating this degree of coherence, you won't be able to characterize the different stages of samadhi. So how can you do it? This is a big challenge. Because there are some other parameters like blood flow or like other things, but all those are continuous parameters. So how to characterize the discrete stages, and with the help of some neurobiological or imaging parameters. And if you ask a neuroscientist, he will say, well, I have a machine called EEG, very sophisticated EEG machines are available in the market, and there is a program. And that program will say that what is the degree of coherence. He or she doesn't like to understand how it measures what it means by that. This is the state of art. I mean, I can say from very core point of view. And they used one type of degree of coherence called spatial degree of coherence. So what is meant by, more general terms, you take two electrodes in two different positions of the cortex, where some wave is being dominated. So you measure the difference of the phases of the wave detected by the two electrodes. And then you calculate whether it is become coherent. Depending on certain difference of the angles, you say it is coherent or it is not. But in physics, there is another type of degree of coherence called temporal degree of coherence. With time, how it changes. Because meditation is not a state, it's a process also. So to study a process, you need a parameter, we say time. And in this degree of temporal coherence, there is a parameter called characteristic time scale, how long a subject can stay in a particular stage. And you will be surprised to know that when I look in the Tattva Sutta of Jain philosophy, they clearly say the number, that this much time a person can stay. Now we can have a comparative study, that what we are getting from the data and what we can get from our text. Even somebody told in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, they have also mentioned kind of time scale. But this is not the full story. Story is yet to be unfolded. Like, as this degree of coherence will not help us to characterize the discrete stages of samadhi, we are looking for another estimation called noise estimation. Because I told that whole meditation process is a kind of noise reduction in our terminology. So, what we can do? We are now studying the EEG data available from different practices all over the world. But what people do, even if there are doctors here who are well conversant with EEG, what they do for the patient, they throw away the aperiodic part of the signal in EEG data, and they only take periodic signal. But a group of scientists in USLA in USA, out of curiosity, they studied that let us see whether we can get some more information in this aperiodic part. And it opens up new vistas, a new path. What is that? Because it is found that this aperiodic part, I don't know whether you are conversant with that. How can you estimate aperiodic part? One estimation is to calculate 1 by f, means that gradient of that f means frequency. So whether gradient changes, and they found that even in the aperiodic part, in the EEG data, it changes with aging, with memory loss. So now people are interested whether it changes along with meditations. Nobody has done anything. Only very preliminary results have been done in some place where they took two groups of people, untrained meditator and trained meditator, but they're in a restful state, not in meditative state. And they found no such differences gradient. But we have proposed, no, you should study this gradient of 1 by f or frequency spectrum, and you will see that maybe in some cases you will get like Vibgyor, there are 7 colors. So you can get maybe red noise, pink noise, and ultimately maybe white noise. So along with this coherent study and this noise spectrum, probably, I say probably because we are still studying the data, and the big issue is to find such a subject who can be really a real sense a good meditator. Modi ji, Prime Minister, once told that you take your instrument, go to the Ahara of the Himalayas, and then if you can find such people. But that's very, very difficult thing. And many people, they are not willing to come under the scanner itself. So we are looking for such kind of long-term meditation data and trying to characterize whether what our traditional wisdom says, traditional text says, and we can classify and we can build up an international protocol for meditation research. We started in Bangalore with a group of people in other parts of the country who are, the signal processing people, biomedical signaling and other things. And also, we need collaboration from here, Shastragya, who has much knowledge about the different stages of samadhi and the detailed process. You might say that you do yourself try to meditate and see, that is the best way. But even in one lifetime, whether we'll be able to achieve it or we'll take the experience of the other people, that is also a good question. So, this is our, we say that this is the kind of findings where we can say that for this kind of modern research, scientific research, we need, or our traditional wisdom can show a new light. Unless you show it, I can tell you frankly, the young generation, young bright scientists, they will not join. Because they will say, why we will spend our time for this kind of thing? Unless you can show, even from technology, you have to show that there are some technology in the past which is not present here, and you can try. But nobody is coming up saying that, okay, this is the technology we had in the past. Now you can try it here. We are ready to do it. But people should think seriously. I mean, it's good to say that our ancient people, they have a lot of wisdom. But how it should be relevant also in modern scientific research, that is one very important question. And we are trying to understand that. Okay, I'm not going to say any more any details because probably I don't have time. And if anybody interested, we can show the results, and you can look into. This is our recent books and varieties of contemplative experience and practices. It is edited by myself and other 3 people from 3 continents, published by Frontiers in Psychology in Switzerland, and also in my own book with my co-author, Noise and Randomness, where there is a chapter, we have described the coherence, noise, and meditations, and some other little papers are there. But okay, if you are interested, we can share all the these materials, whichever we have done up till now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was really fascinating to know about the quantum aspects of consciousness. And now this is the time to seek blessings, auspicious blessings. So I would like to request our technical team to play Anugrah Bhashanam by Shri 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 Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal.
श्री चंद्रशेखर गुरु प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम् देवे देहे च देशे च भक्त्यारोग्य सुखप्रदं बुधपामर सेव्यन्तं श्री जयेन्द्रं नमाम्यहम् सदाशिव समारम्भां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शास्त्राय च सुखाय च चतुर्थम विश्ववेद-विज्ञान-सम्मेलनम ऐसा एक सेमिनार का आयोजन शास्त्रा यूनिवर्सिटी में हो रहा है। अष्टमी से मार्गशीर्ष दशमी तक ये कार्यक्रम होने का है। उसमें अनेक विषयों में संवाद होने का है। विश्व में जो भारत है वो तो विज्ञान मूल का देश है। इधर विश्वास भी है, विकास भी है, विज्ञान भी है। जो अपने शिक्षा पद्धति है उसमें अपने भारतीय संस्कृति, सभ्यता, सदाचारों का उल्लेख अपने पाठ्यक्रम में ज़्यादा नहीं मिलता है। आज का पाठ्यक्रम में इसलिए विद्यार्थी अपने भारतीय संस्कृति का अध्ययन से वंचित होते हैं। इसलिए आत्मविश्वास भी कम हो जाता है और अपने पास ही जो विज्ञान है उसको जब उपलब्धि नहीं होता है तब बुद्धिमत्ता में भी जो आगे जो प्रगति होना चाहिए उसमें इतना प्रगति नहीं हो रहा है। देश का प्रगति में विलंब हो जाता है। अभी 3 बार ये विश्व वेद विज्ञान सम्मेलन इधर हो चुका है। अभी 4थी बार ये आयोजन हो रहा है। विभा एवं शास्त्रा दोनों एक साथ होकर के, विज्ञान भारती एवं शास्त्रा यूनिवर्सिटी दोनों एक साथ होकर के ये काम कर रहे हैं। भारत का विकास आजकल भौतिक विश्व में हो रहा है और भी काम होना है। उसमें आध्यात्मिक भारत का निर्माण के लिए और निजी भारत का, जो भारत है श्रेष्ठ भारत है और संस्कृति का आधार पर जिसको जीवन शैली है, लाइफस्टाइल जिसको हम कहते हैं, ऐसे भारत का निर्माण के लिए ये गुरुकुल में जो पढ़ाते हैं, शास्त्रार्थ जो पढ़ाते हैं और आधुनिक विश्व में जो पढ़ाते हैं, उन दोनों को एक मिलाप का ज़रूरत है, एक संगम का ज़रूरत है। ऐसे एक मंच पर दोनों को बिठा करके ऐसे विज्ञान का प्रचार करना समग्र भारत के लिए पूर्ण स्वरूप हमको समझने के लिए ये उपयोगी होगा। इस प्रयास को हम आगे भी ले जाने के लिए अनेक स्तर पर ऐसे कार्यक्रम, परिचय के स्तर पर, पाठ्यक्रम के स्तर पर और परिशोधन के स्तर पर ऐसे काम होने के लिए प्रयास होना। जो तंजावुर है इस दिशा में पहले ही वहाँ काम बहुत कुछ हुआ है। 17 शताब्दी और 18 शताब्दी, 19 शताब्दी, 20वीं शताब्दी में वहाँ 300 या 400 वर्षों में बहुत कुछ हुआ है। दुर्भाग्य का ये विषय है, आज़ादी के बाद ऐसे कार्यक्रम ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ। इसलिए धर्म के विषय पर हम अस्वतंत्र हो रहे हैं। इसलिए अपने देश में ही अपना संस्कृति का जो मुख्य स्थान होना चाहिए वो इतना नहीं है। उस दिशा में सब लोग, दोनों आध्यात्मिक वेत्ता और आधुनिक वैज्ञानिक दोनों एक साथ बैठ करके भारतीय मूल विज्ञान, साधन नहीं था, सुविधा भी नहीं है, तब वहाँ के तंजावुर कुंभकोणम के रामानुजम जी ने गणित में बहुत कुछ किया है। ये शास्त्रा यूनिवर्सिटी के तरफ से भी उनका सम्मान के रूप में बहुत काम किया है। ऐसे गणित हो, ज्योतिष हो, वास्तु हो, अर्थशास्त्र हो, आयुर्वेद हो, साहित्य हो या एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अनुशासन हो, जो भारतीय परंपरा है, भारतीय दृष्टिकोण है, भारतीय जो प्रक्रिया है, प्रयोग है, ये सब अपना व्यक्तित्व दिखाता है। ये भारत का जो भी व्यक्तित्व है, सत्यनिष्ठा है, आत्मगुण है, उसके आधार पर जो संस्कृति है उसके द्वारा सुरक्षित जीवन और शांति सहित जीवन, द्वेष रहित जीवन, आडंबर रहित जीवन, अर्थपुष्टि के साथ चाहे भाषा हो या शासन हो, अर्थपुष्टि के साथ रहे, ऐसे भारतीय मूल्यों को संरक्षण हेतु तो नया जो विषय है सबको हम हमेशा स्वागत भी करते हैं। स्वीकार किया या सहमति दिया ये इतना ही नहीं, हमने स्वागत भी करते हैं। जो अपने संस्कृति के लिए खिलाफ जो नहीं होता है उस चीज़ को हम हमेशा स्वागत करते हैं। से भारतीय संस्कृति का अनुरूप या अनुकूल या अविरोध जो विज्ञान परंपरा है वो कहीं भी से भी लाया होगा तो भी आनो भद्रा कृता वो यंतु विश्वताः, वैसे अच्छे चीज़ जहाँ है उसको स्वागत करने का आदत हमारे बीच में है। ऐसे विशाल दृष्टिकोण के साथ, आत्मसम्मान के साथ, आत्मविश्वास के साथ, अथक प्रयास के द्वारा ये जो उपलब्धियां है, जो भी परिज्ञान है उसको कायम रखने के लिए ये कोशिश अच्छा है। उसको आगे आगे अनेक प्रकार से उसको विस्तार हो करके भारत विश्व गुरु बनने के लिए जिस विषय पर कदम उठाना चाहिए वैसे प्रयास होने के लिए भगवान से प्रार्थना करेंगे। हर हर शंकर, जय जय शंकर।
Announcement. So after this session is over, we will have a tea break for 15 minutes and immediately we'll gather over here in the same hall for the plenary talk on cosmic dance of Nataraja and quantum theory by Dr. Sudha Seshan ji. So we will be here immediately after 15 minutes. Over to you, Kailash ji.
Namaskaram. As we conclude the fourth Viśva-Veda-Vijñāna-Sammelanam inaugural session, I am honored to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all who have contributed to the success of this event. First and foremost, our deepest gratitude to Sri Vijendra Saraswati Swamigal, the revered Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram, for gracing us with esteemed presence and blessings through divine message. Your message is a Mula Mantra for us that Vigyan has to have an Adhyatmic background. We are profoundly grateful to Professor Vaidya Subramaniam ji for his invaluable guidance and for hosting this event on the spiritually enriching campus of Shastra University. Our sincere appreciation extends to his dedicated team for their seamless coordination and support. A special thanks to our chief guest Rajarajan ji, Director SDSC SHAR ISRO, for honoring us with his time and delivering an insightful address. May his name, like Rajaraja Cholan, stand tall as long as the Vimana of our Brihadishwara stands. Our heartfelt thanks to Indian Knowledge Systems IKS Division of the Ministry of Education and Professor Gantimurthy ji for their unwavering support and curating the academic dimensions of this Sammelanam. We are thankful to Professor Shishir Roy ji for delivering the keynote address, setting the stage for the forthcoming intellectual discourse over the next 3 days. And thank you, sir, for putting us into the meditative mood, and hope there will be less noise in the whole process. Our deepest appreciation to Professor Vasant Shinde ji for delivering the presidential address, enriching our gathering with his profound insights and expertise. Thank you, sir, for demystifying and debunking the old theories which have been in prevalent before your Rakigari studies. Our appreciation to extend to all the Vijnana Bharati coordinators, supportive teams whose dedication has been instrumental in the smooth execution of this event. To our esteemed delegates, invited guests, speakers, and dignitaries, both on and off the dais, we convey our deepest gratitude for your participation and contributions. Thank you for making this Sammelanam a resounding success. Dhanyavad.
We will have a 15 minutes of break for tea and we'll gather over here for the plenary session.